Alright, you mad lads. You asked for it. This is a very hard build. Do not start unless you have the will of the Emperor on your side. You're starting with Titan Class Habs. You build 2 back, up, then 3 more layers. Total of 4. Titan Walkways, Thunderbird Landing Bay, Twin Echo Jets, Kineostream Thruster. Now you're going to offset this. So it's even with the back and clip halfway through the center. Like so. I'll be adding chapters to this video so you can skip ahead, come back, and keep working on this. Replicate to forward. We're going to offset this back. And to the side. Arcadia Blades. Placed like so. And we're going to offset this back and up. Arcadia Stabilizer. Moving again. This time, replicate and move up. Use the raw copper, slide it back. Build, replicate, and invert. Need another one underneath for it to clip to. Like so. Slide it back again. With an offset build, up and back. Arcadia Blade, flip, clip, place. Halfway there. We are now adding Argonaut Aerofoils to widen out the bottom profile. Place a Zenith Class Reactor. Hit center in the nose. Be a bit hard to see at this point, but you're replicating, building forward. You can temporarily add a hab just to make it more visible for you. Replicating on each side, placing. There you go. Prow is done. Offset build. Slide it forward. Can be a bit tricky to clip. Delete and move parts as you need. Argonaut Hydraulics. 3 per side. Total of 6. Delete that. Replicate. Moving on. Offset. We want it half below. So it lines up like that. Slide it forward. And down. Radiator Casing. 2 on this side. Next, we move this to place our next part. Like so. Note the positioning. This is required to get your thermal grills to line up at the bottom of the radiators. Replicate over. Copy and paste. You're done with these. Remove. Moving along. We're going to fill this out. We're going to return to this next segment at a later time. We use in a mix of Corvette and Decoration. This was a monster to create, but it's for the Emperor. To create the wings, you duplicate a Hab, move them to the side, add Titan wing modules. Alright, we're going to paint the prow. You paint it ultramarine blue. To get the desired color, you pick cobalt and orange with a metallic finish. Add in the Argonaut winglets and the first radiator on the bottom. Rest of the ship, you want to paint metallic finish, dark gray and blue. Alright, midsection time. The setup with the offset building is extremely important. You need to have it offset up from the keel and forward slightly. We're going to be sliding it around, but you need to have this offset or the rest of the build won't work. So your offset is 1/2 step up from the keel level. You're going to be using the rock hopper and the Argonaut Aerofoils. We are placing 32 of them in this part of the build. And this is the most intricate part of the Corvette build. Take your time, go slow. I find it best to work on all sides at the same time. You're doing this a total of 32 times. I would advise against attempting to cheat or work quickly. You'll run into errors like you see me do here. I included several of my mess-ups so that you could see how tricky this can be. I should have, as I was building, copied and gone step by step from the front to the back. You have to work front to back. The rock hopper won't anchor otherwise, and you'll have to end up deleting like I am here and redoing work. It only anchors to certain points, so you're going to have to work through and find where it wants to attach to. Slide it forward and back till it clips, just like so. Alright, we just have the last one on the top here. Shift it back. Need to shift it back again. So when you run into that issue, grab your rock hopper, shift it back a half step, replicate, and you're done. Now you can delete this. It's extremely important that you offset it up like this. Otherwise, these bottom keel pieces will not work. So you need to have these winglets, the aerofoils, up by half step. 1 Hab height apart. So now we're replicating, creating the serrations with the launch base. Alright, with the serrations added, we're going to continue the top fin. We want these fins offset by half and aligned center. To do that, we need to adjust the Hab off center so the side is aligned with the center line of the ship. Dead center like this won't work. Offset it to the side. We want it to anchor like this, so get a rock hopper. Whatever you do, don't delete those fins. So that's what you're looking for. Replicate, build up. There we go. This is the conclusion of what you need to build in the Corvette editor. You need to add one weapon and one walkway on the bottom, shown here. Here is a 360 review. Alright, let's move on. Ship like this needs a proper name. Fist of the Emperor. I like it. Here's the parts list again. Strap in. This part takes a while. We're in Corvette mode. We need to move the landing thrusters forward. Now, finalize the design. Go into decoration. We're going to grab tall cabinet. Slice it up to the max. Place dead center. Size down. Place another one. This is for the bottom fin. Place. You can try to do a third. I don't have the sanity. I'm not a Chaos Marine. Move the landing gear back. Sometimes you need to remove and replace. You want it clipped through the bottom fin. It also helps with getting into the ship. Apply the edits and move on. Paint those black. Black and yellow gives this finish. How precise you choose to be will determine whether the chaplain calls you to his office or not. Internal parts. We're adding stairs. This is a multi-deck ship. I would advise that once they get the internal transporters working, you install one. Otherwise, you're going up a lot of stairs. Here we're at the bridge. You're doing great, Knights. Keep it up. Take a break and come back. We need to delete these two parts in order to build the gantries. We're going to build the gantry for the front nose section first. Duplicate. And make a two-prong superstructure to stand on. Anchor to the bottom. Side. Build forward. It does not have to be symmetrical. This is just quick and dirty, so you have something to stand on while you build. Final layout. You add one walkway up top, just to give you a little bit more vertical. Alright, let's get into decoration. We're going to use the asymmetrical sails to create the wing shape. How long you spend to get it a layered effect, like I do here, is entirely up to you and your tech priest. I have found that one side generally works a little bit better than the other. The best advice for this is to choose one point to anchor to. Here, I'm choosing to anchor the mast near the outlet vent on the top Arcadia Blade. Important to do these set of two before moving on to the skull here. That's the kind of layered effect you're looking for. We don't have a human skull, so I use the next best thing, Titanic Trophy. The way to get it perfectly aligned is to stand on the nose and align it to the center line. Take your time decide exactly how you want to place this skull, because once we add more decorations, it's going to become increasingly difficult to make adjustments. I moved it down so that the glowing eyes could be more visible. Then we're going to add more asymmetrical sails. And we're going to clip it through the mouth like so. You'll have to experiment yourself to find what angles work best for you. I add a total of 4 wings each side. To get the exact placement you want, you're going to just have to jump, move around. It will be easier to do this if you use a settlement base building camera trick. The only issue is sometimes it will not actually connect to the ship and will stay in your settlement. So when you take off, it's just gone and wasted work. Once you have the asymmetrical sails and the skull to your liking, we're going to move on to the next step, which is a tied drape. You're going to put this through the nose, like a nose ring, over the mouth. You could add more if you want. The first version of this, I added about 3 more on each side. Then I felt, well, that's just a bit much. The final stage, you're going to use an oversized cog over the eyes, like so. And you add a wall flag too on each side underneath. You could choose to paint them a variety of colors. Here's the options. So you can match your cruiser to your chosen chapter. I'm going with blue for Ultramarines. So customize the color of your asymmetrical sails to tie in. Final step for the nose, you're going to use more tall cabinets. You're going to create a prow ridge right down the center, ending at the drape. Move around, check your angles. There. Not wobbly like that. We are not building a Chaos Cruiser. To build the final nose prong, you can try doing a reinforced capsule like so, but the anchor point is dead center to the model, and it just won't really work. So what you do instead is build a secure archive, size it up, and you're going to build forward. Then you get a barrel fabricator or any long tubular piece, and you anchor it to the center like this. Helps to size this down. Attach dead center. Now you have your prow cannon. Don't forget to paint as you go. Black and yellow. Those parts aren't paintable. Alright, that's the gantry for the midsection. This will serve for the side cannons and the launch bays. First, side cannons. You start with reinforced capsule. Build 1 column, dead center. We're going to build another one aligned to this handy reference line. Create another column. We're going to be building 5 of them total. Camera to the side. You want your camera center point to be pointing at the corner of these walkway habs. Alright. Row 4. These are mimicking the cathedral spires that go alongside of all the cannons. See, here's what happens if you don't align the center of the camera to the hab. It gets all wonky. The Emperor does not abide wonky. You use your lab lamps for the cannon main body. Take your time here. You don't want to build these off level. Okay, use a fuel canister. Clip it to the top. You want the angled side pointing forward to the ship. Like so. You're going to need to play with clipping and collision points. You want them all to line up evenly. When you're ready, replicate. You're starting another row on the bottom. I find it's easiest to work from the ground for this point. Next, add tall molded lockboxes. You want 2 for each segment, so size them accordingly. Pro tip is, once you find an angle that works, just tap your side movement button and keep your hands off the mouse. That's what you want to look for. Now we're going to add some communication spires to the top ridge. So I use a sealed reservoir for a base. Take a sealed barrel, sized up, lined up. This whole mode is made a lot easier if you turn the mouse sensitivity down to minimum. Even better if you have an adaptive mouse where you can switch on the fly. Controller folks, Emperor be with you. Sealed barrel, tall antenna. Use your jump jet. Come from above. Place. I left it white in this video, but the lab lights do get painted black. Right, this whole center segment is going to be an interior courtyard that you will be accessing with a staircase. So you use the worktops to seal yourself off from outer space. This also provides a running light along the top of the launch bays that you'll see from the outside in a bit. You can see there in the bottom right, there's your staircase. This part doesn't really show, so you can get away with a little bit of crooked placement. These big ones on the side are the most important to get correct. There you go. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's the look you're going for. You take a shell assembly station and you align it on its side, facing forward. You want the front of the cabinet to align with the edge of these winglets. Once you get one right, it's a lot easier to work your way through for the next. Or on each side. This mid one here, need to adjust the angle. It's quite important to match the angles of all of these together, because if you have one off angle, it messes the entire aesthetic up. Just like the skull, take your time placing these, because once we move on, it's going to get a lot harder to adjust. Right, you add a locker in the back to seal off the little walkway there, and you repeat this for each gap. Except for the back one. Back one, you're going to grab fuel canisters, and you're going to use its angle to align with the back angle of the winglet. You don't have to do this next step if you don't want to. I thought it looked awesome. Alright. That is one side done. You also add these fuel canisters on the tip of each launch bay. And you paint them gray and black. So this is the starboard side. I have not included the port side. It is already a 45-minute video. I don't want this to turn into the Lord of the Rings extended cut. This is your layout for the final bridge section. That's right, we're getting near the end. You take a secure archive, size it up. You want 2 of them, side by side. Once you have the initial one placed, you want to check. Make sure you're not clipping through the wall too much like this. So you want it just clipping through. Otherwise you won't be able to walk through, and it's unusable Corvette. Can't have that. Color palette you choose, gray and black. Bottom layer, more secure archives. I chose these to create a tiered effect. In the original model from Games Workshop, it is a full-on cathedral. I don't think No Man's Sky will even allow that level of complexity. Props to the model designers at Games Workshop. They are insane. So the goal with this layer is to create a 5-wide base layer. Next level up, you align a dead center to the main 2. Go 1 back. Size up, make sure you're not clipping through the wall again. A good trick, stand on top of the one you've built. Like so. So again, this is the starboard side. We're going to add a seamless window all the way around. The top of the Dictator Cruiser has a lot of cathedral spires and main bridge area up here. Later in the video, I actually add a second level to create a faux bridge, which you'll see soon. We have now basically finished the starboard side of the bridge component area. How you choose to finish with antenna is all personal choice. I chose to put these light stacks on one side, paint them gray and black. You can add something else. You add wall fans to the engine. Create just a little bit more interest. Because, it's not detailed enough. Three long. Paint it black. Add a few more to the ridgeline. Sealed barrels. Crystal antenna. Good tech I discovered. Place the barrel, then the antenna, then size the barrel up. It allows you to clip through and align things a little bit better. Just painting a few things I missed here. I add more fuel canisters to the back to give more of a spired look. I also add fuel canisters in between to finish out the gaps between the data archives. If you wanted to be really extra, you could put antenna on each of these. But as this is already a very heavy model, you're going to be taxing the resources of every player that you go near. So I would advise against going too much more than I've included in this video. And here's the port side. I add a couple antennae on this side. Little asymmetry. Void antenna for the back. Right, on the bottom of the ship, you replicate the tall cabinet, size it down, create two duplicates on the other side, smaller, just continuing that fin effect. Noticed one wasn't painted properly. Alright, moving port side. You get your octa cabinets, 4 long. Create the fuel and engine housing. This one can be a bit of a pain to line up. Next stage, wall units. You're going to be putting 5 across the top, 5 across the bottom. Steady hand wins the race. I'm already working on the next build. It's going to be from the Halo franchise, and I'll be releasing that next Friday. So do a last check. On the underside of the wings, you add a salvaged awning. You want to point at the Hab as your anchor point. For final decoration, I'm going to grab some illuminated signs. 3 on the back of each Hab here. Total of 6 there. I add tall cabinets to the bottom. To continue the line. That part right there caused massive errors. Right. Delete your gantries. You add in the top hab. And you add some antenna to the bottom. You cannot rotate your regular antenna to work. Adding windows to the top floor. And one final dual-pronged antenna set at the top. And a sealed barrel. Dead center. Void antenna right up there. For entering the warp. Add a few more antennae onto the top side on the rear. Now we're going to create the ridge crest. Grab illuminated signs. Size up to max. Check your alignment with the Arcadia Blade lines. That's your center line. Place. Rotate. Done. Just tighten up any little bits here and there. Continue the ridge line. Sometimes you're going to have to cheat it out just a little bit like that. If anyone gets that close and criticizes you, I'll just use a multi-melter. Use the natural lines of the model to help align your parts. And there you go. That is what the exterior looks like. I have one more final added here. You build some secure archives up, and you're going to add some cabling. Hanging cables twisted, or the dual hanging. Either one works. Because you want both ends to attach to the antenna like so, or near enough that you can see that they're very clearly supposed to attach. This one's a bit easier. Size it up. Place and delete. Like so. Alright, guardsmen. Final stage. We're going to fit out the false bridge. This is above the cockpit. So you use some ceiling panels angled like so. Large monitor station. Monitor stations on the side. Data display units on each side. Add some hydraulic arms for your tech priest station so that they can commune with the machine spirits. Monitor stack. And there you go. You have now completed your Dictator Class Cruiser. Go forth into the stars and crush the enemies of man. In the name of the Emperor.